This is my 1995 Renault Extra Maxi van, and today we're going to get on to the most important part of the build, and that is the motor. And right now it looks terrible. It's not just getting a fresh lick of paint, it's getting an entire overhaul thanks to Napa Auto Parts. Talking new parts, preventive maintenance, just bringing it a new lease of life and where it should be. Because when this engine goes in the van, not only do I want it to look the part, but I want it to sound and scream the part as well. And by the end of the video, this engine is going to be unrecognisable and ready to drop into the Maxi van. Before we can even think about doing anything else to the van, we need to get this lump inside it. I'm still undecided whether we're going to put this engine in the back eventually or a VR6. Either way, this one is mechanically sound but has been sat in a track Clio abandoned for years. If I'm going to put this much effort into the van, there's no way I'm throwing a dirty lump in there. So let's get on with the first job, and that is power washing. So we have give the engine a once over with the jet wash and degreaser. I use the path cleaning nozzle because it's the most high pressure one, and it's got majority of the stuff off. Let's show you. As you can see, it's looking miles better. There obviously is a lot of pitting on there, which we are going to get sorted and painted, but what I need to do is bring it back inside, and then we can go over it with a drill and a wire brush to get in them tight spaces. I just wanted the majority of crap off before I did go and do this process. But it's one that's needed to get the paint bonding to the engine perfectly. We don't want it coming off after a few heat cycles, we want it staying on there. I've also gone ahead and pressure washed the inlet manifold and the new thermostat housing. Check them bad boys out. The setup that I used to have in my Fire before I got the Tesla inlet manifold, the colour combination in there was beautiful. I miss that setup so much, so I'm going for a very similar one on these. We need to get these primed up, and then while these dry we can start wire wheeling the engine. So, in between grinding all the dirt off this engine, I've been spraying the inlets, a few different covers, thermostat housing, getting them all shiny and looking new. So this is after 2 coats of primer and then 2 coats of the thermal spray, and it's looking a nice silver. Now, the rest of that will stay silver. It's time to work on the inlet manifold. So on my old setup, I had the backing black and then I had the writing gold, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. Just having a small black backing to emphasize the gold writing looks a peach. So we're gonna mask that up and start getting a coat of black on there. Now while we wait for that to dry, we can carry on removing all the grime off this engine. I've got a few bits that need to be pulled off, a few brackets that are not needed, a few pulleys as well. Let's pull the rest of these bits off, and then we can start grinding with little Dremel bits and wire brushes to get the rest of the stuff off before we paint this. We want to make sure the surfaces are prepped well so the primer can bond to it. If not, it's just going to chip off and peel off once it goes through a few heat cycles. Now, all I'm going to be doing is using a different range of Dremel bits and wire brushes, working from the top of the engine down. There is a few bits that still need to come off, like the water pump and thermostat housing, but I've kept them on so no debris goes into the internals. I've plugged the exhaust and inlet ports as well as the breather on top, so there's nothing really exposed where any debris can get in. It's going to take me a long time. This is the most tedious bit, but if you want an engine to to look well and stay looking well for a long time, it's definitely needed. So I am about halfway through getting this block and box cleaned, and man, it is one of the most repetitive, mind-numbing jobs. But again, if you want the paint to bond, then this is a step that you need to take. The inlet is looking beautiful. I did have a bit of a runoff just down here, which I can touch it with black, but this needs another coat. All I did for this is cut a little bit of a sponge off and just dab it, because with a small paintbrush you might get runs. As we can see here, it's cleaning up quite nicely. My process is to degrease it, jet wash it outside, then bring it back in, wire brush it all, and then start going over with a Dremel to get the hard bits off. I start with the biggest bits that I've got. These are around probably 10mm wide. To get in all the flat areas, and I can get in with them. Then I reduce these in size to get into the crevices, and then I start with a point and some standard sandpaper to get right in the corners. I personally don't like to use degreasers at this stage, because all it does is the oil and bits that are on there makes it more wet and it just spreads it right, whereas it being a bit dry, it's easier to come off. Now, unfortunately, the camera did die last night, but the engine is painted up. Honestly, it's one of the worst jobs, other than painting the underside of a van. Painting an engine is the worst of jobs, but check this out. She is looking mighty fine now, along with the inlet manifold that has been painted, and then all the other covers as well. This is the best part of this. Once you've painted it, you can start to put all your new bits on. And to help with that, we've got Napa. Napa has provided me with pretty much every replacement part you can get for an F4R. And that's exactly what we need when we're taking something like this on track. You want the peace of mind knowing that everything that can be replaced on these engines has been done and won't let you down when you're out on track. I am waiting on a timing kit, so belt, dephaser, a few new pulleys and a keyed crank pulley. If you don't know why you should get a keyed crank pulley, I basically didn't torque the bolt down enough. It came loose and I smashed all the valves in the head on one of my old engines. So now I run keyed crank pulleys on these because they don't come from standard. But let's set you up, we can start getting these new bits on. We have got all the necessary Napa parts on this engine now to put it into the van, but we are waiting on a few parts. Like I said, I am waiting on a keyed crank pulley and a timing belt kit to put it up. But I mean, this engine, along with the painted parts and the new parts, is looking proper naughty. Let's think back to when we first started power washing this engine. It was awful. That old saying, a lick of paint adds a multitude of sins, is massive. This engine now looks pretty much brand new. Against the black in the bay, that contrast of silver will absolutely pop. Just want to give a big shout out again to Napa for supporting us on this build and on future builds. They're giving us a lot of support on the prep for the 5 for the Europe trip, which you'll see in a couple of videos time. But get over to their website, check out what they've got. They've got a range of parts for all sorts of engines. Like I said, parts for these are starting to become a bit obsolete, so having somewhere I can go to get replacement parts like this is massive. So this will sit here now for a bit until the parts come in and I can get it timed up with new belts and dephaser and keyed crank pulley. The engine mounts are in, so once we've got that, we can start to drop the lump in and work on the wiring loom. Again, just want to say thank you very much for the support. I shall see you in the next one.